Welcome back to another episode of the Hunt Fish Live podcast. In this episode, I'm going to run through, probably 10 or so late season ice fishing tactics. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's going to help you put some fish topside. Let's get into it. The number one factor in late season ice fishing is safety. You can't ever be too safe on the ice. And during the late season, when the ice is starting to get a little nasty, it's more important than ever to be as safe as possible. One of the best tools that you can put into effect right now is something that is very common in the ice fishing world now. It is a float suit. A lot of bibs and coats made for ice fishing have flotation in them, and now is one of the best times to use it, along with first ice, of course. But last ice and late season ice can be very unpredictable. So wear your float suit, bring a friend, be smart, and watch for classic signs of the ice deteriorating. People call it honeycomb ice, other people call it snow cone ice, and others only know it when they see it. But you usually start to feel two types of ice, especially when drilling holes. Clear hard ice is what you've been on all season, and it's, it chips away, it comes off clear, it's perfect. But this time of year, the ice becomes soft due to the sun and everything melting. It resembles snow cone snow, and it comes up when you drill with your auger. Usually starts at the top as the ice melts, but can also come from the bottom. So just be aware. The ice that drills a little more like snow is kind of a warning, and you're going to want to be pretty cautious and aware of the ice conditions that you're on. Look for like a bunch of water on the ice, toilet bowl flushing kind of in the holes as you auger. The water will start to cycle back into the hole. That's a big red flag for me. Also, if the holes are expanding due to that toilet bowl drainage, if you're seeing more snowy ice than hard ice, it's best to work, like all of a sudden, it's best to work your way back to shore. There was a time my buddy Brandon and I were out fishing a lake close to home, and it was late season. We were fishing bluegills, and we had about, it was a good foot of ice out there. We started in the morning when it was cold, and we ended up, all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and we go to switch holes or move spots, and it was like we were walking through the mud, kind of. Every step we took, we were kicking up snow, and we were kind of sinking into the top of the ice a little bit with our boots. And it all happened so fast. We didn't know it at all, and we didn't expect it to happen. And we started drilling holes, and it was just all of a sudden like a snow cone machine, and we were like, we gotta get off of here. We both decided that it wasn't safe, and it was kind of creepy how fast the ice turned on us. We made our way back to the boat ramp. It was probably a quarter-mile walk or so, and the whole way it just kept getting worse and worse. It wasn't frightening, but it was definitely concerning. That was the last day, or our last ice fishing trip that year. That's something that I'd never experienced before, and something that I'll never forget, but I'll always know what that feels like and what it means. So be safe out there. That's the number one priority right now. I mean, it is during all ice season, but late ice can get pretty sketchy pretty fast. So just be aware. With that being said, crappie in late season ice tend to move from the basin of the lake to shallow, weedy areas and suspend there, getting ready to spawn once the ice leaves. The runoff from the land and all the oxygen, the fresh oxygenated water and weeds, get the bugs and other food going, and there's plenty in shallow for the crappie and bluegill to eat, even the perch. Crappies see to the left, right in front of them, so you need to get on top of the school, and you will be successful. Larger bluegills tend to spend more time outside of the shallow weed edges, eating the bugs in the mud and the weeds. Now, after the water starts heating up and the sunlight is able to penetrate the ice further and rejuvenate what's happening under the ice. Perch, on the other hand, prefer deeper water with softer bottoms around structure. Look for steep contours. Perch are eating bugs at this time of year, so that jigging spoon or that Haley jig spoon, the jig spoon with the little chain and the hook, with a couple wax worms or spikes, will give you very good results. Also, wigglers at this point in time will help you be successful as well. By late ice, in lakes with good standing cabbage and coontail weed growth, you should expect both of those species to be showing up on the deep edges in masses. The shallow flats with good weed lines and good weeds can harbor big crappies all year, but they really come out towards the end of ice season. The biological matter trapped in the ice and the bugs washing in from the shore, along with better light penetration, will kickstart that bare shallow water area, making them a prime target for us late season ice anglers. So get out there and take advantage of that. Lakes that have great weed growth, full standing weed beds are good weeds, or more shallows than basins. See a shallow bite sooner. But expect deeper basin dominated lakes with very few weeds to see late ice bluegill and crappie being caught out deep until the very end. It can be hit or miss. Make sure to look at your depth map of your lake and figure out your best plan of attack. The predators will also be active at this time as well. They go shallow. They chase after those shallow moving panfish. Pay attention to the fact that these fish are likely being chased around in a healthy system, tied up against the weed lines might be the only way to get a bite, as predators control the outside because they're looking for that meal too. It could be a game of inches or at least feet when settling on late ice locations. So drill tunnel holes. If you have an AquaView camera, put that down there and definitely use your electronics. They're going to help you be very successful during the late ice period. If you're out there and you are catching bass while you're ice fishing, big active shallow bass typically mean good quality bluegills aren't far behind. Same can be said for crappies and pike as well. It's always best to learn from that and take that as a sign that the bluegill are around and your panfish are around in these late ice locations. So again, just be mobile. It's probably not the time of year to be in a shanty. Whole hop, and you should be successful. Find the predators and you'll find the prey, so to speak. Late ice is a great time to fish, though. I know we all have spring heavy on our brains, and we want to get out on the soft water, get the boat out, and catch that first ice out fish. That being said, knowing where winter fish last end up is the first step in finding them in the boat once the ice leaves. So call it a scouting mission, if nothing else. It's a good time to find those fish to get you some limits once the ice leaves. You might just find yourself fishing more late ice than you did during the rest of the winter. Just because of that, it's going to help set you up for for the upcoming spring. This coming weekend, I'm helping to put on a late season ice fishing derby. This is a panfish derby. We are going with, instead of the biggest fish for the first three places, top three biggest fish, we're actually doing top two biggest stringers, gearing more towards the panfish side of things, the lake that we're fishing on. Has a lot of bluegill, crappie, and some perch in it. A lot of bass and pike too, but we are focusing our attention on the derby, for the derby, on the panfish side of things. I think it's gonna work out. It's been kind of warm here. The temperature's starting to drop again now. I think right now is the warmest it's going to be for a few days, at least through the weekend, I think. So hopefully it's helping melt a lot of the snow. I guess it's supposed to rain today too, but we have plenty of ice out there, and it's supposed to be below freezing at night, so it should solidify anything that melted during the day or softened up during the day. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good time. We got some great prizes as far as raffles go and all that stuff. It's a charity tournament, and we expected it to be, or we set it up to be kind of small. We wanted it to be small, with it being our first one, and it is growing out of control. To say the least. So it's going to be a good time. I'm nervous to run it just because I'm not really one to tell people what to do as a director. So, but we'll get over it and it will be fine. So anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening to the Hunt Fish Live podcast. Leave a comment. Let me know if you get out for that late season ice or if you wait until the ice is gone and you can get your boat out. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Hopefully you guys can get out and do some activities in the outdoors, whether it's hunting, fishing, or just living life. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks again.